Always Prabhupada, and it's wonderful to be in the assembly of Vaishnavas to discuss Krishna Katha. So we will start with our invocation prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 15, text number 1. Can
I
others
request
please mute the
Murthy
phones?
ji to mute the phone, please.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
If somebody is the
Prabhuji,
host,
please
then it will
start.
be easier for them to mute in case there are some
Yeah.
things.
Now you can start, Prabhuji. Everyone is
Sure.
mute now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trinarada uvacha karma nishta dvijakke chit tapo nishta nripa pare swadhyayane pravachane kechana jnana yogayo. Narada Muni continued, my dear king, some brahmanas are very much attracted to fruitive activities. Some are attached to austerities and penances, and still others study the Vedic literature, whereas some, although very few, cultivate knowledge and practice different yogas, especially Bhakti Yoga. Let's also read text number 2. Jnananishtaira deyani kavyani anantayam ichchata daive cha tad abhaveshyat itarebhyo yatartahat. The person desiring liberation for his forefathers or himself should give charity to a Brahmana who adheres to the impersonal monism. In the absence of such an advanced Brahmana, charity may be given to a Brahmana addicted to fruitive activities. There are two processes by which we get free from material bondage. One involves Jnana Kanda and other involves Upasana Kanda. Vaishnavas never want to merge into the existence of the Supreme. Rather, they want to be everlastingly servants of the Lord to render loving service unto Him. In this verse, the words Anantyam Ichchata refers to persons who desire to achieve liberation from material bondage and merge into the existence of the Lord. Devotees, however, whose objective is to associate personally with the Lord, have no desire to accept the activities of Karma Kanda or Jnana Kanda for pure devotional services above both Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. Anyabilashita sunyam jnana karma dhyanavritam. In pure devotional service, there is not even a pinch of jnana or karma. Consequently, when Vaishnavas distribute charity, they do not need to find a Brahmana performing the activities of Jnana Kanda or Karma Kanda. The best example in this regard is provided by Advaita Goswami, who, after performing the Shraddha ceremony for his father, offered charity to Haridas Thakur. Although it was known to everyone that Haridas Thakur was born in a Mohammedan family, not a Brahmana family, and was not interested in the activities of Jnana Kanda or Karma Kanda. Charity, therefore, should be given to the first-class transcendentalist, the devotee, because the Shastras recommend Muktanam Abhi Siddhanam Narayana Parayanaha Sudurlabha Prasannatma Kotishvapi Mahamune, O great sage, among many millions who are liberated and perfect in knowledge of liberation, one may be a devotee of Lord Narayana or Krishna. Such devotees who are fully peaceful are extremely rare. A Vaishnava is in a higher position than a Jnani, and therefore Advaitacharya selected Haridas Thakur to be the person to accept his charity. The Supreme Lord also says, Name Bhaktas Chaturvedi, Mad Bhaktas Swapacha Priya, Tasmai Deyam Tato Grahyam, Sacha Pujo Yata Hyaham. Even though a person is very learned scholar of the Sanskrit Vedic literatures, he is not accepted as my devotee unless he is pure in devotional service. However, even though a person born in a family of dog eaters is very dear to me, if he is a pure devotee who has no motive to enjoy fruitive activity or mental speculation, indeed, all respect should be given to him, and whatever he offers should be accepted. Such devotees are as worshipable as I am. Hari Bhakti Vilasa 10.127. Therefore, even if not born in a Brahmana family, a devotee, because of his devotion to the Lord, is above all kinds of Brahmanas, whether they be Karma Kandis or Jnana Kandis. In this regard, it may be mentioned that Brahmanas in Vrindavan, who are Karma Kandis and Jnana Kandis, sometimes decline to accept invitations to our temple because our temple is known as Angrezi temple or Anglican temple. But in accordance with the evidence given in the Shastra and the examples set by Advaita Charya, we give prasada to devotees regardless of whether they come from India, Europe, or America. It is the conclusion of the Shastra that instead of feeding many Jnana Kandi or Karma Kandi Brahmanas, it is better to feed a pure Vaishnava regardless of where he comes from. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.30. Apit set duracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavastito hisa. Even if one commits the most abominable actions, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated. Thus, it does not matter whether a devotee comes from a Brahmana family or non-Brahmana family. If he is fully devoted to Krishna, he is a sadhu. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yenam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are starting a fresh chapter where we are going to discuss the instructions for civilized human beings. This chapter, it's a conversation between Maharaja Yudhishthira and Narada Muni. So Narada Muni is giving all these advices. This is in continuation with what Narada Muni has been speaking in the previous chapter. In the previous chapter, Narada Muni specifically spoke about the importance of Brahmanas in the society. Now, he is going to talk about even different grades of Brahmanas and how there are Brahmanas in Grahastha and they have their own associated attachments as well as responsibilities. and Brahmanas in Vanaprastha ashrama. Then he's going to speak about Brahmanas, and so the idea is 2 chapters are completely dedicated in discussing about how to be a civilized and a first class person, because being a first class person is not a choice. It is the need and it is a directive. Sometimes we think that devotional life is a choice. If you go and ask people, even from a perspective of asking religious beliefs, previously when you are filling some online forms or any applications, they used to ask this question, religion. Now those questions are removed because people are saying religion is now personal choice. It is an option if somebody wants to believe in God or not. Why? You are utilizing God's resources. You are dependent on God's blessings for all your existence. Why it is a choice? What if God gives a choice that should I look after him or not? I will take care of everyone else but for this guy. God doesn't say that. So hence my first and foremost point with respect to this current context is to discuss this aspect of saying the importance of being civilized. And when we are discussing about importance of being civilized, we are going to discuss about the prerequisites of a civilized person, which is much more than the details of a civilized person. So the idea is that when somebody wants to become a Brahmana, when somebody wants to become a civilized human being, there is a associated understanding that he or she need to bring in, because if somebody is not interested in being civilized, nothing is going to work. So my first reflection is about the prerequisites, and I'm going to read it from Srimad Bhagvatam only. This is from first canto, 9th chapter, text number 26. So this is the chapter which titles about the passing away of Bhishma Deva in presence of Lord Krishna. So this is in the same context when Bhishma Deva is speaking to Maharaja Yudhishthira. So I will read a portion from this purport to establish my first point, which is about the prerequisite for a civilized person, because this chapter is talking about instructions for a civilized human beings. So which means we are supposed to be one, and it is meant for us. But as I said, now even to understand if I am converging towards civilized or not, we need to have some reality check. So I will read a portion. Let's hear what Prabhupada is saying. This is 1:9:26 purport. The Varnashrama Dharma is prescribed for the civilized human being just to train him to successfully terminate human life. Very profound statement, important statement. The purpose of Varnashrama Dharma, because this chapter, the 7:15 as well as 14, that we have been discussing about civilization, human civilization, family life, and the duties associated with them. So it is said that Varnashrama Dharma is prescribed for a civilized human being just to train him to successfully terminate human life. Self-realization, is distinguished from the life of the lower animals engaged in eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating. Bhishma Deva advised for all human beings 9 qualifications. Number 1, not to become angry. Number 2, not to lie. Number 3, to equally distribute wealth. Number 4, to forgive. Number 5, to beget children only by one's legitimate wife. Number 6, to be pure in mind and hygienic in body. Number 7, not to be inimical toward anyone. Number 8, to be simple. Number 9, to support servants and subordinates. One cannot be called a civilized person without acquiring the above mentioned preliminary qualities. Besides these, the Brahmanas, the intelligent men, the administrative men, the mercantile community, and the laborer class must acquire special qualities in terms of occupational duties mentioned in all the Vedic scriptures. That's all I want to read from this particular, purport 1:9:26. Srila Prabhupada is saying, one cannot be called a civilized person without acquiring the above mentioned preliminary qualities. If you read the 9, whenever I read this 9, I am not following almost all of them. I'm not sure, if I am not becoming angry, I become angry. I'm not sure if I'm not telling lies, I tell lies. So I am scared, which means the basic reality check is that I am not civilized. So here, Narada Muni is saying instructions for civilized human beings. So does that mean that these are all not relevant for me? So what am I supposed to do? So as a reality check, we need to understand that I have some obligations, some prerequisites that I need to make sure that I subscribe to, so that I have some footing, some foundation, some base before I actually try to become a practicing devotee. Having said this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew this background. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he is descending in this Kali Yuga, based on the advice of Advaitacharya, request of Advaitacharya, and also prayers of Narada Muni, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming down, who are all his choices with respect to picking and preaching to? All of them, or most of them, are fallen souls. So, a fallen soul, a patita, is given an opportunity by the Supreme Lord to be situated in a platform which is otherwise called as worshipable. Because Prabhupada is explaining in this purport, Haridas Thakur was chosen over the Brahmanas for receiving the oblations. When Advaitacharya wanted to perform Shraddha ceremony, he chose Haridas Thakur over some qualified professional Brahmanas. So, to conclude or to explain the first reflection about the reality check, we are presenting two realities. Reality one is I am not civilized. Reality two is Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu picks up such uncivilized fallen souls and make us useful if you subscribe to his program. This is a fundamental information that we should know. It is like this. I have not gone through formal hierarchical growth in my organization because the owner of the organization is my relative, is my uncle, is my father's close friend. So instead of taking me in the junior position and making me go through all the stages of promotion, he somehow, out of his kindness, out of his existing relationship that he has chosen me in the position of a manager, a senior manager. But when I am chosen, what is expected of me is I am supposed to make sure I have both downward integration as well as forward integration. Downward meaning I should know manager to below what all things are to be done, how they are supposed to be done, and to an extent I am able to work with them. And forward integration meaning I should be knowing whom I am supposed to respect up, learn from, and grow from that point in time. If you do not have backward and forward integration, I will be a useless manager. So Srila Prabhupada, when he started International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Srila Prabhupada very, clearly stated that even though we are all given the exposure to the transcendental loving signs of Krishna consciousness, the Sankirtan movement, which is delivering Patita, Srila Prabhupada also said, every Vaishnava is a gentleman. Every Vaishnava is a responsible person. Every Vaishnava is an accountable person. Every Vaishnava is a righteous person. Every Vaishnava is somebody who is subscribing to the codes of Varnashrama Dharma. He is very clear that we need not be doing the karma kanda part of it, the formality part of it, but we definitely need to do the righteous part of it. The reason I'm mentioning this is a very subtle point and important point. The reason I'm mentioning this is that many a times we as practicing devotees, I did this mistake in my growing days in Krishna consciousness. Many a times it is misunderstood. Many a times it is thought that because I'm a practicing devotee, all these things are
It's not audible, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, we cannot hear you. Let me call Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. I think Prabhuji got disconnected, so maybe Prabhu has to join again.
Hare Krishna, I'm sorry that the connection got dropped. So excuse me for that. There was a power cut, so I had to. Okay, so I was just saying that Srila Prabhupada was very particular in making sure that we are not some reckless, irresponsible, group of people where we just say Krishna, Krishna, Krishna and not do our obligations. So this whole combination of knowing to know our civilization and knowing to know our duties and responsibilities, knowing to know that what are all things that we are supposed to be following even as a practicing devotee, and to what extent is very important. So my first reflection is about the reality check, that let us know where do we stand. Let us also know the glorious nature of this Krishna consciousness Sankirtan mission. The glorious nature of this Krishna consciousness Sankirtan mission is that it accommodates, it handpicks, it is elevating a Patita to a Vaishnava. Mrigari becoming a Vaishnava. Jagai Madai becoming a Vaishnava. Ramgiridari becoming in the process of trying to accept Krishna consciousness, and there is a hope. So people picked up from, they say rags to riches. So this is from rags, they have picked up from a very, that is why it is said that, my dear Lord, you have picked up me from a very, very hopeless condition and you are making my life hopeful. Now, these instructions that we are discussing today is something that is important. Maybe it is subservient in comparison to devotional practices, but it is something that we are supposed to oblige only to an extent that we are able to be a practicing, responsible, accountable Vaishnava. This reflection needs to be properly understood. Otherwise, we may become karma kandis. We'll take a Prabhuji, it is mentioned in Bhagavatam, I should go and give charity to a person who is an impersonal faith. So I'm already worshipping. So many misconstructions will come up. So that is why Prabhupada's purports are very important to understand the context in a proper Vaishnava way. If we are not understanding, we will have a confusion. So this is my first reflection. First reflection is about reality check. Now comes the second reflection, in which Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the purport that the objective of all these practices, to give in charity, to surrender to someone, to give oblations to someone, what is the purpose? Because what happens is that people sometimes without understanding the purpose of their existence. They fail to work towards the purpose rather than keep doing it because of formality. One of the simple allegations that Srila Prabhupada, always points out towards smartas and towards people who are just hung up on their own identity. As Prabhupada writes in this purport, that people don't visit some houses. Srila Prabhupada is referring here that sometimes in Vrindavana, people doesn't come to our temple. People think that these are all Angrezi, these are all Western bodied people. So these are all people who are, not having the necessary samskaras, and they have 100,000 allegations. But Prabhupada clarifies them here. Prabhupada says that we operate based on Shastric injunctions. If somebody has surrendered to the process of spirituality under the bona fide spiritual master, and his practices and his ideology are in line with Shastras, we treat them as a Vaishnava. And he is giving the reference from Hari Bhakti Vilas. Yasyasti Bhakti Bhagavati Akinchana Sarvair Gunair Tatra Samasate Suraha Harava Bhaktasya Kuto Mahadguna. So it is important that we will have to realize that in the journey of Krishna consciousness, we will have an associated responsibility. We have an associated set of behaviors that we need to, subscribe to. The process by itself will make you qualified. But if you have a qualification of being born in a Brahmana family, but if you are not subscribing to the process, then there is no use. So my second reflection is that we need to understand the purity of the purpose. So when we are asking about oblations, charity, Shraddha ceremony, whether it is about worshipping forefathers, worshipping demigods, worshipping all this. So there are so many rituals. So if we do not understand the purpose behind the rituals, we just simply follow the rituals. That is condemned strictly. That is very strongly, condemned. So it is extremely important that we need to know at the end of the day, we have to have a clarity on why I am doing what I am doing. In fact, the Gen Z, Gen Alpha generation, they are not able to digest certain aspects of our Vedic life because they are given inadequate information, or they are not properly given the purpose underlying certain actions. So they immediately think that because it is not clarified, because this is not presented nicely, because this is not true, because this is not experienceable by me for whatever reasons, this cannot be true. So hence my second reflection in this current context is, it is important to note the purity of purpose is something that we need to understand. The purity of purpose for why I am doing. Like for example, it is explained, or in this chapter, there are so many things that Narada Muni is going to explain. He is saying that how we are supposed to give charity, whom are we supposed to give charity, whom we have to give importance, and several other things that he is going to speak about. So the reason this is all spoken about is so that we all know why I am doing what I am doing. You are not doing just because your forefathers have been doing whimsically. It's a very famous story that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj tells about Brahmana when he was worshipping his deities, Shaligrama Sila. So one day, a cat came to disturb the puja. So the Brahmana shooed away the cat and he started focusing on the puja. But the cat kept on disturbing. So this happened for at least 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. So this guy thought that, because being a kind one, he doesn't want to harm. At the same time, he want to make sure that the worship, the practices are properly done. So what he did was that he tied the cat, which was roaming around before starting the puja, so that his worship is not disturbed. And after the worship was done, he, released the cat. So the family members, they were observing this. And after the Brahmana's death, so whenever this ceremony or this utsava or this puja was being done, as an ingredients for the worship, they had several ingredients, and one of them was a cat and a rope, because they thought that as a part of the puja, I need to get a cat, tie the cat to the rope, and tie them up, perform the puja, and after the puja, release them. So this is a meaningless, baseless, activity without understanding somebody doing this. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj condemns that many a times we as a practicing devotees, we don't understand the purpose behind them, and that makes us completely sentimental and also sometimes very risky, because you will become a Kali Chela. So hence my second reflection in this current context is to establish the fact that we as a practicing devotee need to know that whatever activities are recommended, what is the underlying purpose? Whom is this recommended for? When are they supposed to be done? Why are they supposed to be done? In what consciousness is supposed to be done? Please note that Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and Shastras, they are general reference manual for humanity. But within this Shastras, there are so many classifications. Everything written in the Shastras are not meant for everyone. Some are meant for sannyasis, some are meant for brahmanas, some are meant for brahmacharis, some are meant for vanaprasthis, some are meant for men, some are meant for women. Some are meant for person in the mode of goodness, ignorance, passion. Several classifications. But in general, we take a pramana that we are always operating based on the Shastra. What does it mean? You have to go and refer what is relevant for your section of life and then learn that from them. Most of the times, because of not having these all clarity, we try to make a mess and KHD out of the whole thing. So to conclude my second reflections, purity of a purpose with an underlying reasoning of why, what, when, where, how. Otherwise, just doing the rituals will mean srama eva hi kevalam. It will be simply waste of time. Third and the last reflection in this current context is that Srila Prabhupada is saying that those who are subscribing to release themselves from the material bondage, so they want to make sure that I have made up my mind, I want to get relieved, get free from material bondage. Srila Prabhupada says, Jnana Kanda and Karma Kanda are one section, and Upasana Kanda is another section. He says, Jnana Kanda and Karma Kanda are those where we are very much associating our activities with respect to karma and jnana. So, Prabhupada explains, Vaishnavas never want to merge into the existence of the Supreme. Rather, they want to be everlastingly servants of the Lord to render loving service unto Him. So he says that jnana and karma, even though they are integral part of humanity, but those who are subscribing to the process of loving devotional service, those who are blessed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, those who are blessed by special Vaishnava from the Bhakti movement, they don't need to go through the entire ladder. It is like saying, because I have to reach the 7th floor, I need to walk 7 floors, each and every floor's steps. No. If you have an elevator, use the elevator. Somebody who does not have access to an elevator is understandable. But somebody who has access to an elevator, somebody who knows what an elevator is, somebody is having the facility to go by an elevator, you don't need to go through the steps. So yoga ladder talks about different stages. Karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga. So there are different stages. So it is important for us to know that we need not go through all the stages. If we have to go through all the stages, it is stupidity par excellence. It is like somehow or other, I have come to the stage of being in the college, come to the stage of being a professional. You don't need to do some things which otherwise somebody has to go through, because you have already come to that stage through some arrangement. In India, there is I'm sure in US also there will be arrangement. People have job opportunities through sports quota, right? Like, for example, famous cricketers, famous, sportsmen, because of their performance or contribution to the country, they are given honorary jobs. Somebody become a superintendent of police, somebody becoming a collector, an auditor, or whatever the different role is. But somebody otherwise have to reach that stage through so many layers of work. But this guy, just because of certain extra privileges that he had, he got to the stage. So what we are trying to say is, what Prabhupada is trying to explain is that in your devotional life, it is important that if somebody is subscribing to Upasana Kanda, Upasana Kanda is contradicting with Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda. It is directly Upasana, means worshipping, sitting closely, making sure that we are trying to focus on devotional practices rather than karmic and jnanic activities. So Prabhupada says, intelligent person will take through Upasana Kanda rather than Jnana and Karma Kanda. That is why Rupa Goswami Pad, when he is explaining about the definition of pure devotional service, he says, Anya Abhilashita Sunyam Jnana Karma Dhyanavritam Anukulyena Krishnanu Silanam Bhaktiruttama. So it is important that we need to make sure that we make the right choice. Prabhuji, is it wrong if somebody wants to climb the ladder? No. But is it intelligence to climb the ladder when there is an elevator? It is also no. Because intelligence means you use the elevator and go up to the necessary floor. So from that perspective, it is imperative that those of us who are part of this bhakti movement to understand that because we have got the blessings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because we have got an opportunity to associate with Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, we don't need to go through certain other procedural and karma kanda, jnana kanda related activities, because of our being situated properly in a specific position in devotional consciousness. So hence my third reflection is that the point that Srila Prabhupada is driving home in the entire purport of difference between karma kandis and jnana kandis vis-a-vis bhaktas. So when we are all bhaktas, we have a responsibility for backward integration in terms of knowing what is my dharma, what is my obligation, what is my duty, and I need to fulfill them to an extent so that my devotional practices are correctly performed. At the same time, I don't overdo to insult devotion, neither I ignore to be a debauchee. So from that perspective, this comparison of Upasana Kanda vis-a-vis Karma and Jnana Kanda are to be understood. And that is why Prabhupada is giving an example of how a first-class transcendentalist, how a first-class person is such a person who surrenders to Krishna, who understood the ultimate goal of life properly. He is a real first-class person, and such a persons are extremely rare. Because religiosity, dharmic activities, spiritual activities, pure spiritual practices, and all these four may look alike, but they are four different things. General religious faith is different from varnashrama dharma and basic dharmic activities, righteousness. Spirituality is different from basic faith of religion and dharma, because the moment we talk about spirituality, we talk about soul, super soul connectivity. When we talk about pure spiritual activities, we are talking about pure devotional service. So, unfortunately, especially in countries like India, where we are born in a religious family background, we have lots of confusions. So we have an advantage of being born in India because we have some base, but we also have sometimes disadvantage because for us to unlearn what we have learned is also very difficult. Yesterday I was talking to someone. So for them to accept that Advaita Vada is not a bona fide, form of philosophy to understand bhakti movement, they couldn't even digest. Okay, I may be making a statement which might hurt some sentiments, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Maya Vada Bhashya Hoile Sunile Sarvanash. He says he strongly condemned Maya Vada ideology. But if somebody who is very much subscribing to that ideology, for them, we are wrong. So how do we come to a conclusion? That's when we take shelter of self-realized souls and Srimad Bhagavatam from a parampara. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarishyo viduhu sakale neha mahata yogo nashta paramtapa. So that is why Krishna says, for us to receive knowledge, we need to have a proper bona fide source, we need to have a proper bona fide, relationships, so that we can learn from that source. So my third reflection is about the importance of understanding the processes, Jnana Kanda, Karma Kanda, and Upasana Kanda, and how Upasana Kanda is different from Jnana and Karma, and why somebody has to subscribe to Upasana Kanda, especially if their goal of life is to surrender to the Supreme Lord and eventually stop this cycle of birth and death. Jnana Kanda also takes you, Karma Kanda also takes you, but it is like a ladder, whereas the Bhakti movement is like an elevator, gives you a fast track growth, fast track progress, and fast track transformation. Otherwise, the risk of going through step by step is going to be very much time consuming, and who knows, in the process, we may get deviated also. So those are the three sets of reflection from this current context. So I will summarize this, three reflections. Basically, this particular chapter, which is about the instructions for civilized human beings, we started discussing from a point saying that, if these are all instructions for civilized human beings, which means we should know what is civilized meaning, and which means we know what are the prerequisites for being civilized. And if you do not know that, then sometimes we may be in our ignorance, illusion, thinking that I am an advanced or a progressed devotee, whilst we may be beating around the bush. So we had identified 3 sets of reflection to understand this context. First reflection is about the reality check. Reality check, we discussed those 9 items which Srila Prabhupada is listing in the first canto, 9th chapter, text number 26, where he's talking about 9 basic qualities a civilized person needs to have. And we also discussed that how in Kali Yuga, many people miss these things, and they generalize their life in different ways. So we identified that how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood this, and that is why he is called Patita Pavana. He came to this Kali Yuga. He presented this science of Sankirtan mission, so that even the fallen souls who are uncivilized could as well be part of it. So we had a reality check saying that on one side, with those qualities not being in place, we will be classified as uncivilized. On the other side, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is starting a Sankirtan mission where even uncivilized people are picked up and they are given the blessings and their consciousness levels are elevated. So these are 2 data points which we need to really know as a reality check. Then we mentioned that now that we are part of the Sankirtan mission, it is imperative for us to note that we have an associated responsibility, accountability in doing backward integration, to know that I cannot remain, patita. I need to become responsible, accountable, surrendered, sincere souls, which means I need to know what is my obligations, who are all have obligations, how I am going to fulfill the obligations by understanding the purity of the purpose, which means why I am doing what I am doing, why these rituals are being done. Without knowing them, I may be continuing to be in darkness. So better to understand the purpose, and knowing that you have been given a support system by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sankirtan mission, try to accommodate, fulfill your obligations within the framework of, the Sankirtan mission, so that you are moving forward. At the same time, you are being a responsible and accountable servant of Supreme Lord. And last but not least, we spoke about the third reflection about, which is the difference between Karma Kandis, Jnana Kandis, and Upasana Kandis, that how a person who have surrendered to this Bhakti movement, they need not go through the ladder. They have an advantage of climbing up the stairs through an elevator and go to the ladder, go to the position that they want to, move. Having said that, they are, going to be responsible and perform their devotional activities properly at that stage, so that the purpose of human form of life is absolutely fulfilled. Those who have not understood, they will have to beat around the bush and keep coming again and again. And that process of going through the cycle of birth and death is something that is not advisable when we are students of Bhakti movement. So these are all the 3 sets of reflections that I could think of from this 2 shlokas, 7:15, 1 and 2. So sorry for the in-between snack. There was a small power cut. But then if there are any questions, comments, reflections, thoughts, I'll be happy to respond. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dai Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Any questions, comments, or reflections?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for such an nectarian class. Prabhu, I have one question. It might not be based on what you spoke on today, but could be slightly related to it. Is it okay
Sure.
to ask?
Sure, go ahead, ma.
Yeah. So I was talking to my brother, His Grace Kanai Thakur Prabhu, yesterday, and he said that when there is a conflict between two Vaishnavas, two senior devotees, it is a purification. It is their purification. And it is very important to understand that when we are in a conflict, and we make our decision based on not our egoistic whatever point of view is, but in service to Krishna or to your Guru and Prabhupada, then you grow in your bhakti. Can you please explain, Prabhu?
The idea is that, okay, I will quote a verse, or not a verse, a statement that His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj has mentioned. I'm not exactly verbatim saying that, but I'm paraphrasing. I'll give that statement that Maharaj made, then I'll explain what I want to say. Maharaj said, if Krishna bless you with something, which means he is showing his kindness upon you. And he said, if Krishna is not providing you something, he is showing his extra kindness upon you. So the idea is that when the Lord gives you something, it is his kindness. When the Lord does not give you, it is his extra kindness. The reason I'm making this statement is, when two Vaishnavas, they speak and they have disagreements, agreements, generally, because the word Vaishnava is used, I'm giving a generalized answer. It can be varying from a different, context. So when Vaishnavas, when they have any such differences, any altercations, or any challenges between themselves, they use that as an opportunity to go deeper and analyze what all things that Krishna is trying to communicate, what that Krishna is trying to help me, teach, make me better, rather than, saying that a blame game. Typically, to sincere souls, they think like that. One day, what happened, when Yudhishthira Maharaj was ruling, two people came to his court with a very, very unusual case. So usually such a petty cases don't go to the Maharaja. Some lower ministers handle them. But this was an unusual case. It came to the Yudhishthira Maharaj's assembly. So the case was, there were two people who are having a fight between them. One person is saying, this piece of land actually does not belong to me. The other guy is saying it is actually belonging to me. And the other person is saying, no, this piece of land actually belongs to him only. Somehow he is not remembering that. So Yudhishthira Maharaj thought for a while. He did his calculation or whatever, and he says that, okay, please come after 15 days or maybe whatever timeline. So then after 15 days, whatever time, they both came, and this time the scenario was different. He says the same guys are making another statement, saying that piece of land belonged to me, but the other person is saying that it is his. So previously they were fighting to say that this actually piece of land was the other person's, and now they are fighting that piece of land belongs to myself. And what was the difference? 15-20 days before, it was Dwapar Yuga, and now after 15-20 days, Kali Yuga has begun. So maybe this is a hypothetical situation, but this is something that I have read and heard from a bona fide source. How much ever authentic in terms of the details here and there, but the message is, the nature of Kali Yuga is to create confusion, to create misunderstanding, to create differences, to create certain things. So it is extremely important for us to understand that as a Vaishnavas, whenever any challenges, any confusions, any miscommunications happen, we have to dive deep and try to find out why it is happening, and maybe is there anything that I have to learn from, rather than blaming, abusing, accusing, criticizing, which is what Kali's agenda is. And Kali wanted to introduce that amongst devotees so that he can disrupt the preaching initiative. And that is exactly what we should not allow that to happen. I'm not sure if that is responding to your question, Mataji. If not, please let me know.
Prabhu, can you please repeat the last few things, last sentence or two that you said?
I'm saying that Kali's agenda is to somehow or other disrupt our Sankirtan mission. Maya and Kali, they constantly come and check to make sure, are we genuine? Are we serious? If we are serious, we will not get carried away by the distractions of Kali. If we are not serious, we'll get easily, get distracted. And that is a warning to make sure that somehow it is like, you get fever, but if you get fever every 15 days on a regular basis, it is an indication of some bigger disease. So similarly, when there is a misunderstanding, miscommunication, which means Kali is trying to play, please don't allow him to play. Please don't allow him to disrupt your Sankirtan mission by being focused and trying to learn from every situation what is there for me to learn, and not get get into sort of a misunderstanding with devotees because they have the hopes. Is it okay, Mataji?
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Really appreciate. Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, this is Geeta. Thank you so much for today's very, very nice class. My question is that the 9 qualities I think you mentioned, right? Where
Yes.
you also said not to like anyone. Like that basically is equanimity, right? So
Not to
this is,
lie. Not to lie.
it means basically don't like or dislike, basically both the things, right?
No, not to lie. Jhoot nahi bolne ka. Don't
Acha,
tell
lie.
lies.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. But also
One,
equanimity is one of them in general. I mean, may not be part of this 9.
no, it is there. It is to equally distribute wealth.
Right.
See,
But
if you
that is
if you have
related.
Veda base, sorry,
Yeah.
I will give you the link. You can go through them. It's you tell me a question.
No, please go ahead, Prabhuji.
No, I'm saying that I will send the link. I've pasted the link from that particular purport. You can read them. But I'm saying that economity say, you have something to connect to this context. You want to say something?
No, in general, I'm talking, Prabhuji, that in Kali Yuga, we have very strong likes and dislikes, especially towards people, and otherwise
Yes.
also. So, which is
Yeah.
not a very healthy thing because that's part of Kali Yuga. I mean, isn't it?
7th point is not to be inimical towards anyone.
Yeah.
So these are all very well thought, very well structured thinking. So that is why if you simply subscribe to Srimad Bhagavatam and the advices of our elders, I think our life is set.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Any other comments, questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for this excellent class and reflections. And and the answer for the Pranita Mataji's question. But Prabhuji, sometimes what happens, one devotee is trying to be humble and trying to be compromising, but the other devotee is just not trying to compromise, like with their angriness or whatever mood of their other mood, and they blame the first devotee and misunderstanding with his own conceptions. Then how should we go with that, Prabhuji? Do we still forgive him and continue with him, or just stay away because that negativity is with the group or the other people is contaminating their devotion service also, like devotional mood also? So what should we do, Prabhuji?
Fair point. 3 things I will say. Number 1, that whenever you feel your spiritual life is getting compromised because of someone else, it is prudent for us to save our spiritual life first. So from that perspective, that you try to respectfully excuse yourself from the situation is not wrong. Second point is, if you want to, you can involve. If you think that I cannot excuse myself, I have to be part of that, you can involve some senior devotees or somebody who can try to mediate or try to facilitate, try to make the situation, make the equations better. So then you can try that. And third, and the most important thing is that many a times it so happens that a person's behavior is always associated with him, but generally there could be both sides scenarios. So you can always look out some opportunities. Is there anything that I can do to make the output differently? And if I can be part of the solution, then be part of the problem. Only when all the involved parties are ready to think like that. Otherwise, stepping ourselves away from such a situation, or trying to work out working relationship from that situation is okay. But at no point in time you have to succumb and relinquish or give up your devotional quotients. That is not expected of us. First is to protect your bhakti lata bij, making sure that you are sane, you remain sane. If you are going insane, then for sure you have full rights to say safeguard that first at any cost. Did I answer you, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, yes. So, because if we again associate with that devotee, our consciousness or our sadhana will get spoiled or disturbed. So, in that case, we should stay away from that devotee, right?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. If there are no further questions, probably we can end the session here.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have a very, very basic question. Sometimes it comes to my mind.
Yeah.
We do all the studies. It's very good because we cannot only do japa all day. And knowledge also helps us to be on track. But I heard that there was one devotee who was very, very uneducated, um, had no direction, but all his life he only did japa. Only japa, no knowledge, no Bhagvatam, Bhagavad Gita, nothing, and sadhu sangat, right? And he crossed this, the world and got self-realized. I mean, it's
Yes.
very unique, but he did japa like as all his waking time. So that's I mean, I was just wondering, yeah, it's for this is also for our it's a myth actually, this intellectualism that we try to show that we have something that we need to satisfy in ourselves. Otherwise, because they think like japa is not really very intellectual as such, intelligent people who are qualified, they think like that. But I think like we japa helps to purify us. So I'm just wondering this dichotomy, between what all we do. So how do you different? I hope you understand what I'm trying to
Yeah, I
say.
understand the question. It is not a dichotomy. It is just a lack of understanding in people's mind. So japa is not just a japa. Japa is actually an action in practice. When I do japa, it is not that I'm just sentimentally calling some name. When I do japa, many things happens to me. I am calling out the names of the Lord. My heart gets cleansed. Because my heart gets cleansed, my constitutional nature is awakened. My constitutional nature of me being servant of the Lord is realized. And because I am realizing my constitutional nature, my ego, arrogance, envy, pride, illusion, all those things are mitigated, which is making me to behave in a bad manner. So the japa, by chanting japa, like what Vrindavan Vasis did, they just chanted Krishna's name. and they just loved Krishna. They never studied Bhagavatam, they never studied Bhagavad Gita, they never studied any of those things that we are studying, but they are called as a pure devotees of the Lord. So the idea is that eventually, for you to be a devotee, you should love Krishna. But today you are not able to love Krishna because you love yourself, your resources, your money, your car, your house. By chanting, we elevate ourselves. Vidyute hridaya grantis siddhyante sarva samsayaha. Hridaya granthis, all the dirt in the heart gets cleansed when you chant the holy name of the Lord. So it is not contradictory. It is that two different aspects of devotional life. One aspect is to glorify the Lord. Another aspect is to try to understand the process of how I can elevate myself. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Krishna consciousness is simple for simple-minded. Krishna consciousness is very complex for crooked. So if we are simple-minded, just chant and be happy. That's all. You don't need to actually do anything else, because chanting is in itself the means and chanting is in itself the end. Just because we are not humble enough, mature enough to understand this, other things are given to us. That makes sense?
Oh, so beautiful. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Very helpful. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can I ask a question as an extension to what Sham Risika Mataji just talked about a conflict?
Sure.
So, Prabhu, when we are in a group, like let's say a group of 5, 6, or maybe 15 or 20 people,
Sure.
and if two devotees are in conflict, and the one devotee who, like, one of them decides to leave, but then that devotee wants to come back into the association of everyone, how should, like, I was asking in that context, if it's in that way, like
It is
what
extremely important. It's extremely important how it used to be happening. Every time we always appoint someone as the final authority to take a call, because involved parties don't take decisions. Involved parties choose someone to help them take decisions, because when we are involved, I will be biased. That is why there is a concept called judicial judge. It means one who can weigh this neutrally. So if amongst 15, two people have a problem, if the two-person has to come, the remaining 13 do not want, but this has to be solved, then we have to find the 16th guy who is neutral to this 13 plus 2, so that he is able to do a well-wishing decision for both the parties. This is called counseling, mentorship, guru. There's several names that are given to this. So the idea is that that is why in our spiritual life, we always nominate someone as our authority, whose words we will follow even if we don't agree, whose words we will subscribe to even though we may have different understanding. Reason being, not that you have to blindly follow, but you follow because you have a higher purpose. So Prabhupada always did that. Prabhupada, that's why I said that there is a unity in diversity. To that extent, we will say that, okay, you and me have certain disagreements. Out of 20 points, you and me don't agree on 6 points, but can we work together on those 14 items? Those 6 items, we will see how to handle them. So that way, you are trying to bring in a common ground to work. This can be done generally amongst mature devotee mutually. If that maturity is not there, nominating a senior neutral judge, mentor, counselor, authority is always advisable, and that is exactly how Srila Prabhupada dealt with. Did I answer you, Mataji?
Yeah, and then is it okay to, I'm not saying like this is how it should be done, but is it okay to say that the two devotees, instead of having everyone involved in it, or like people thinking that, okay, no, both of them should be in there, we like both of them, so just having both the devotees be in that association, but those two devotees limit their interactions initially until they find a common ground, and we continue with that the group.
Possible that this call has to be taken by the neutral party, not the other involved party. So the idea is that sometimes what happens is that, between parties, everybody will have their strong opinion. So they both, that is why they call us arbitration. So
Right.
arbitration means two opinions are heard by a neutral party and a common ground is being sought. Some compromises, being brought. Okay, Mataji, you don't come on Mondays and Wednesdays, let the other people come. Okay, Prabhu, you don't do the service. So some arbitration has to be brought in. If mutual conversation doesn't give you fruition, arbitrations are the natural next possible way to sort out things. If that is not getting sorted out, then legal separation, then there are several gradations to that. But at least Prabhupada always wanted to give chance to devotees to fix his or her mistakes. Repeating, giving another chance, giving a person an opportunity to correct mistake is Vaishnavism. Punishing completely, pushing it depends on. It's a very, generic statement I am making.
Right.
But principle is that somehow or other we should be considerate and have a neutral stand when you're taking such decisions.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Really appreciate your time and inputs.
Hare Krishna.
Hari
Krishna.
Bol
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. The other thing is that also, isn't it important not to have very strong opinions?
Well, depends upon what we are talking about. Lord Shiva did not have any strong opinion when Daksha was accusing himself, but Lord Shiva had an extremely strong opinion when Daksha hurt his wife. So the idea is that when, suppose for example, in this forum, I start accusing Pranita Mataji, you keeping quiet saying that, okay, let Ramgiridhari have his opinion about Pranita Mataji, that is wrong on your part. If I am accusing you, you can stay a humble stand. But when I am accusing Pranita Mataji, you say, Prabhuji, if you have anything to do with this, please don't do Vaishnava Aparad. You can say that. Or you can say, I am not part of this, I am quitting. So you should make sure that having strong opinion for one's own self, how Gita should think about Ramgiridhari, I can have flexibility that let her think whatever she wants to think. But I should definitely raise my voice and raise my hand to say that Mataji, you are not supposed to insult another Vaishnava. You do not have rights towards that. I should say that. Either I should say that or I should make sure that I am not party to the Sangha. Because having a strong opinion when people are accusing you is different from having a strong opinion when people are accusing some other Vaishnava in your assembly. Does it make sense?
Yes, definitely, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. And
Yeah.
this can be related to Draupadi's situation. Yeah.
Yeah, so many Ramayana, Mahabharata has got zillions of situations. Humility shown towards misbehavior of someone to somebody else is not humility. It is cowardness. You should show humility when somebody is insulting you. You don't show humility when somebody is insulting some other Vaishnava in front of you. That is not humility. That is stupidity.
Right, Prabhuji. But not just Vaishnava, to any other human being, right?
For sure, but I'm saying that you should be careful also.
Yeah.
You should be very careful. I mean, so the way you react to a situation is a science. Why you are reacting, how you are reacting, on what capacity you are reacting. It's a science we better need to learn that.
Yes, Prabhuji.
And Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam teaches that.
So actually, Prabhuji, the thing is, yes, they teach us, like now when you've elaborated, it has become very, very clear. When one reads the shloka, we know everything like moral science, what is good, what's bad. But when it comes to application, it becomes many things are gray areas, right?
That is why we say our spiritual life is not just dependent on scriptures. Our spiritual life is dependent on Vaishnavas also. Shruti, Smriti, Puranadi, Pancharatrim Nidim Vina, Aikantikir Harer Bhaktir Utpade Eva Kalpate. Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Itihasas, they are all very much important. They are bases. But then we need sadhus who can explain those bases. So we always, Prabhupada's books are important because of Bhaktivedanta purports. Because it is Prabhupada's explanation. And Prabhupada said, there will be time where my purports will somebody have to give. and that is happening. All the classes are purports to Prabhupada's purports. I am sharing my reflections. I am sure tomorrow when you are asked to be given a class, maybe you will also gather some learnings from your own life, and those are all genuine learnings. You will offer them, and that's how we all learn.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. So, and I just had another question, Prabhuji, very small.
Sure.
I wanted to ask you, like, it's a personal question, but it's like confusing. Like an old friend was visiting the US and wanted to meet. And one, I didn't have time and I was busy and all that. But the thing is, in the end, it didn't go well. Okay, so because I called and expectations were different, whatever, and I could not, it just happened with my routine, it was not anyway, so it didn't, so I'm scared that that negativity, don't want any negative vibrations coming from someone, is so this is because it could affect me, my peace of mind also goes then. So how do you handle? But I did do a lot of introspection. It was a very at my age, it is such a small thing to have missed this meeting with the person, of old friend, but it didn't happen. But the thing is that I and my peace of mind went away first, this thing, because I was asking myself, have I done the right thing? But I thought to myself, I did all I could, but the ego or the expectations were different. So, but the negative vibrations I'll be getting, So, what do I do, Prabhuji?
Number one is that we are always in spiritual life, personal life, professional life, everywhere. Sutra is communication. Prayer is a communication. Dialogue is a communication. Communicate. Communicate yourself. Communicate the involved party as honest we can. Honest, humble communications are the most powerful tool to heal. Number two, when it comes to expectation shortfalls, let us learn that, let us expect that there will always be some failures, whether we desire or not desire. Failures meaning what we expect may not always come true, because expectations are the cause for lamentations. So rather than expecting the results, we expect that the results that I'm expecting may not even also come, so let me be prepared. That is what I was telling in Pranita Mataji's question is, when Krishna gives you, he is kind. When Krishna does not give you, he is extra kind. Third and most important is, we can always, every situation, we can always do self-introspection and try to learn what went wrong, so that what can I avoid next time, so that this mistake, if it is done because of something that you did wrong, at least you will not repeat. Otherwise, what you did now, you keep repeating, and that will become your habit. So at least the third agenda item is, okay, mistake has happened, you communicated, and your expectations also been reset. But at least let me go and analyze why this mistake happened. Is it because of my planning? Is it because of my, superficiality or whatever that may be? So can I fix them so that this mistake does not happen again? So those are three things that I could think of.
Yes, thank you,
Okay.
Prabhuji. But the negative vibrations, I cannot, that I'm asking
Negative
now.
vibration will automatically go away when you, take shelter of holy name. See,
Yeah.
please understand, if anything inadvertently done will have to be, will be not having the bigger consequences than things are advertently done. I did it because I didn't, know how to do it. Is different from I did it because I knew I want to cause pain. So this negativity comes in only when things are purposely done to harm, hurt, or having some ill feelings. Inadvertent things, guilt is there, and the guilt is good. In negative vibration is different from guilt. I should be guilty of what I have not done, so that next time I don't make that mistake again. So having a guilt is okay, but having a negative vibration is not required. So take shelter of holy name.
So, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, do you have 5 minutes or should I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so now that we are talking about conflict so openly, I wanted to talk to you about another situation where, like, there's a big sangha, 40 people, and then there are two families that are very close. And in that situation, the husband in one family always keeps attacking the wife in the other family by like gandhi or a chuti or a khatarnak, like Hindi slurs. And
Right.
first time this family decides to forgive and understands, talks to the husband's wife, finds out what's going on, and okay, let's go. Again, then a big their family is invited in front, like this is done publicly, not in private. They are very
Sure.
close. But when it comes to insults, it's done publicly. So
Mm-hmm.
again, second time they say it's a mistake. Again, third time in even bigger congregation it is done. And now this time they are not like they don't want to even discuss or even apologize for anything. So in
Mm-hmm.
this situation, like this is attacking other person's wife. How should that be handled, Prabhu? And in this, like in either situation, none of these situations, the family, the husband, wife that are involved ever retaliated or said anything on scene. They just went home, talked about it, and they were forgiving. Okay, let's forgive. And there were small incidents like ye bola, wo bola, that's different, but big attacks. Even those were forgiven a few times. But then at one point, this couple decides that, you know what, enough is enough. We have always talked, we have forgiven small things, big matters. But now we cannot take for our sanctity because then we lose our peace of mind. We lose our sadhana is disturbed terribly because of these insults and because we want to be humble. Okay, insult hua hai, so maybe Krishna is testing me. Insult कुछ बोला है Krishna is testing me. Oh, other person is going through some difficulties. We should give that person a benefit of doubt. We have to be caring, understand. We have to be humble. But then there is a limit of humility, Prabhu. And then the couple decides, okay, now you know what? Peacefully, you are happy at your place. We are happy at our place. When we meet in a big congregation, we just greet each other. But we don't. They are. They keep inviting this couple to their home. Just come over. We can eat dinner. But now this family doesn't want to associate with them on personal levels, but in a congregation, fine, we are continue to go that into that big group of 40 people, but we are not gonna keep personal relationship with. Is that a appropriate way of handling this, Prabhu? Or it
Yeah. So
shouldn't be?
with whatever limited information that you are sharing, I guess it is important that the negative elements are not brought together under one roof as much as possible, because if some situation is triggering because of the physical presence of both the people in the closest proximity, if it is trigger the other person's bad elements. So I guess that's the first thing that we are supposed to do. This is we call in psychology, where distance the predators from the target, because
Yeah,
those who are trying to do something wrong, they need to be like, I'm a person who have got weak spots towards children, and I'm a pedophile. So then I should be make sure that I should be staying away from the children. So similarly, when we see these people are predators, are they making mistakes, then one of the obvious important thing is that staying away from a target is any day to be done. And second point I want to say is that you can give up some company of people, but don't give up Krishna consciousness, because many times what people do is that because I have a fight with that Prabhuji, no more Krishna consciousness, no more ISKCON, no more chanting, no more temple, no more Krishna. Many times it has happened. When Guru fall down, disciple give up Krishna consciousness. When my counselor is breaking a regulative principle, then my Krishna consciousness is compromised. No, your counselor, your guru, your senior, everybody can fall down, but still your Krishna consciousness is your Krishna consciousness. So please keep the predators away, or please, even though maybe both of them are not bad people, just that they are coming together becoming bad, just divide and rule, make them to two different groups, but at least encourage to make sure that they continue to practice Krishna consciousness not give up Krishna consciousness. I see around the world people in the form of doing mediation. They say, okay, you don't come to satsanga for next 6 years. So how will they do? If they don't come, you don't come to this satsanga, but you go to some other satsanga. But if you stop them from coming to satsanga, then what is the hope? That's my point. Make sense?
Yeah, yes, Prabhu. So it's okay, like it's a big satsang group, 40 people. So these two families come there, but they are not gonna interact with each other.
That is
They
okay,
see-
absolutely fine. We don't.
So,
That's okay
but
because
yeah, we don't want both of them missing satsang. We want both of them to be there.
if required, spin it off and create two opportunities so that there are two different satsangas grows. But make sure that each of them Krishna consciousness is intact. That's the main point.
Yeah. And Prabhu, in this situation, it is okay for the family that was attacked to not associate with them anymore. Like this is a really serious.
Yeah, absolutely okay.
Right?
No problem, no problem. You can
Attacking
stay away from
someone's wife. Yeah, attacking someone's wife, not once, twice, 3 times. Like I don't think that should be forgiven.
Okay, I am okay. So we're getting to the details, but the point is that with limited information, whatever I'm hearing, it is. I'm just answering. Maybe there are more details to that. Probably, an appropriate forum can facilitate that. But what I'm saying is, as a principle, if anybody is being abused in another forum, we should make sure that the abuse is, stopped by the way of, separating those, source of abuse and the target of abuse. And then independently, both of them need to be, fed the necessary Krishna consciousness philosophy so that their sanity is intact.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for answering all these questions. These conflicts were like they've been going on for last few months.
Kali Mataji,
So
Kali
it's
will
settled.
keep acting.
It's settled now. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji, and thank you, Pranita Mataji, for asking the question for both scenarios. And Prabhuji, for first scenario, Mataji was asking that the other person wanted to come in a group again, but they always say negative things, and they always think negatively. If somebody is not going to their home, they say, oh, you are going to that devotee, but you are not coming to my home for program, or any for it was my birthday, but you didn't come to celebrate my birthday. So they have so many expectations from other devotees, like material expectations. And then also they say that, oh, instead of devotee friends, my material friends are very good. Her husband also says that. So if they're thinking like this about the devotees and Srila Prabhupada, and instead of doing everyday chanting, doing Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav course, but they are just not following, they're not getting that humility or that humbleness in their service or their swabhav. So do we, how you said, we are again inviting them and making our consciousness spoiled, and because that's their practice, that's their nature, that always think negative. जैसे बोलते हैं ना, काला चश्मा पहनते तो हमको सब जग काला ही दिखता है. तो that's like that probably. So I don't know how we should
I'll
go
tell a story.
forward. Yeah.
Prabhupada once went to South Africa, Durban.
तो इस केस में क्या होता है, मुझे ऐसे लग रहा है कि हम अपने पैर पे खुद पत्थर मार रहे हैं. ऐसे लग रहा है कि we know that person, how he is and how he is contaminating. He is going to all the other group members and getting sympathy from other group members, that and saying lie things, blaspheming the first devotees. So I don't know, Prabhuji, how to do that.
I'll tell you a story. Srila Prabhupada went to Durban, South Africa. So Srila Prabhupada went to Durban. This is the first time Srila Prabhupada has gone to Durban, or is going to Durban. Prabhupada's ISKCON Durban had a neighbor who was constantly, having fight with ISKCON devotees. There's an old lady there. Every day she used to have a fight with ISKCON devotees there, saying that something or the other, you guys are cooking a lot.
I'm coming.
So she used to constantly have a fight with the ISKCON devotees. So what happened was that because Prabhupada was coming, these temple devotees, they were completely confused what to do. They thought they will go and tell that old lady, saying that, my dear lady, our Guru Maharaj is coming. So for the next 3 days, please spare us, don't fight with us. At least when our Guru Maharaj is coming for the first time, let us have a peaceful visit of him. Then they thought, if they go and tell that lady, she'll get all the more aggravated to fight when Prabhupada is around. So the devotees thought that no, we will go and tell Prabhupada that Srila Prabhupada, we have a very bothering neighbor. So she may come anytime and shout. So please don't mind, we are forewarning. Then they thought, yeah, this is the first time Prabhupada is coming. How can we go and give such a report? We should give some positive report. So in this confusion, what to say, what not to say, so they were, contemplating, then Prabhupada arrived. So nobody briefed Prabhupada, nobody has told anything to Prabhupada. First day morning, Mangalarti was done. And after Mangalarti, Srila Prabhupada was leaving for a morning walk. What happens is that ISKCON temple and the neighboring lady, they both shared the same common compound wall. So Prabhupada, when he was going for the morning walk, he stood by the fence, and the adjacent lady, she was doing some gardening. So Srila Prabhupada greeted that lady and appreciated, you seem to have nicely maintained this garden. And he went for the morning walk. Second day also, third day also, Srila Prabhupada went for the morning walk and he greeted that lady and just gave some few gestures and appreciated about her, well-groomed garden and things like that. The fourth day, after Prabhupada left from, that's all Srila Prabhupada did. He didn't say Hare Krishna, he didn't chant, he didn't say anything. He just greeted and just said some good things. And fourth day, that lady is coming to ISKCON. So asking, hey, you guys had an old man in your temple. Where is that guy? I want to meet him. So all the devotees were very much afraid and concerned that what is that she's going to do? Why is she asking for Prabhupada? So they were all extremely, frightened, and maybe she's thinking of picking up a bigger fight. So everybody asked, why are you asking that person? He said, no, tell her who is he? Who is he? Where is he? They said he is our founder Acharya for a moment, and he left for the next location. Then the lady made a statement saying, he is the only good guy in your entire movement. So all that Srila Prabhupada did was that 3 days, he just kind of gave positive impact to that lady. The point I'm trying to say is that the challenges that you are narrating, I'm sure it is complicated, and we have seen similar challenges in many, many places. But the formula is, can we create an opportunity for people to appreciate some aspects of Krishna consciousness? Appreciation brings in positivity. This lady did not know who Prabhupada was. Prabhupada did not know the problem that lady had with ISKCON. But few words of appreciation and kindness has brought in lots of positivity in the equation. Many times when we are in the challenging situation, we are so much colored into the problem that we fail to recognize the positive contribution and fail to appreciate the people involved. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaja one time had been to Calcutta, not Calcutta, Mayapur or Calcutta somewhere. He was going to inaugurate a temple. The temple inauguration ceremony was very grandly announced and declared. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj is going to do the temple inauguration in the next 2 days. And he arrived and he was meeting all the temple devotees, and he found out that one brahmachari was expelled from the temple. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj asked why he was expelled. So every member said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 27, 30, so many issues of that brahmachari. Then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj asked, you guys are listing so many mistakes about that person. Don't you have at least one good quality of that person that you could list? So one devotee said that, Gurudev, that devotee sings very, very nice kirtan. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj asked, then why are you not telling that at all? You guys listed so many mistakes of that person. Why are you not saying that what he is good at? I do not know what will you all do. You go and find out where he is. Only when he comes, I will perform the inauguration ceremony. So all the temple devotees were in a big fix. So they all started to search for, because they expelled him, threw him out of the temple. So they don't keep track of where he would have gone. So they all went and searched in all the places, and they were confused. If Gurudev is not going to perform inauguration, it's a huge festival, we have advertised, what is going to happen? So then they had a meeting and said how to find out that guy. So one amongst them said that this person is a very good watch repairing skills he has. So maybe we should go and find out. So they went and searched in different places where the watches were being repaired. And in one of the shops, this person was sitting, and the devotees were searching and say, Prabhu, you please come back. Gurudev wants to have you back in the temple. And it so happened, the brahmachari who was expelled, he was actually crying, sitting in the watch shop, thinking about how sad it is. I made a mistake, or maybe, I didn't realize the importance of being in the Sangha. Only when I'm coming to the suffering situation, I'm realizing how wonderful those devotees were. So he was crying and guilty about how to go and ask them. So he was weeping. At that time, the devotees came and said, Gurudev wanted to have you back. So this person started weeping and said apologetic statement saying, I'm extremely sorry for all the mistakes that I have done. I know I have committed mistakes, but thanks for being considerate and accommodating me. And the devotee was taken back into the temple, and everything was, done for them. These two episodes tells us that there are challenges amongst devotees, and there will be. But apart from all the strategies, one of the strategies is to encourage and expose more appreciation and kindness and recognizing a person's contribution for Krishna as one of the strategies. I'm not saying that just by doing this, everything will be all right. We might need to involve neutral party. We might need to, based on so many details, we might have to do so many other things. But at least this is one data point that I wanted to share. Is it okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry, we took a lot of your time, Prabhuji.
No, it's always wonderful.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I really, really appreciate everything that you said today.
Hare
You
Krishna.
solved all our problems today. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Gita
Krishna.
Mataji, also asking such a nice question. You read my mind and you phrased my mind and you presented in front of Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Dhanavad Pranam. So let's pay ourselves to all the Vaishnavas. Pancha Kalpatarvesha Kripa Sindhu Vaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Ananta Koti Vaishnav की जय
Jai.
नमः श्री दास ठाकुर की जय
Jai.
जय प्रभात की जय
Jai.
ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय हिज ग्रेस
Jai.
राम गिरधारी प्रभु की जय
Jai.
थैंक यू सो
Hare
मच
Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.